Hello everyone and welcome back. There we have it, the official confirmation from Eddie Howe in today's press conference. He was asked, can Newcastle United sign both a centre-half and a winger in this window? No, probably not now. I know Eddie Howe is the sort of person sometimes in a press conference that can come out and almost mislead the media. But I actually believe him on this one. I generally think Newcastle aren't going to sign both players this week, which tells us a couple of things. It tells us, one, Newcastle is prepared to potentially spend £70 million on Mark Gee, knowing full well that by doing that, they could not buy themselves an outright option in this transfer market, which, for me, baffles me. Because how are we prioritising a centre-half over a winger? Bearing in mind, we already know, we tried to sell Miggy in this window, so when you take Miggy out of the equation, you're telling me that we're willing to spend £70 million on Mark Gee and full well knowing that Jacob Murphy will be starting for us this season? How does that make any sense? It just baffles me quite a lot, because we've had all window to go out there and buy a winger, and then we're waiting until the final week, and then well, you know what? We're prepared to potentially spend all this money on bringing this centre-half in, but we're not going to spend it on the option we should have had covered last summer. I was actually disappointed we didn't buy a winger last summer. This summer, how we then went again in this window and decided not buy a winger. It's just mental. How have we not brought a winger in? I could not believe that Eddie Howe came out in the press conference and outright told the media that we are probably not going to be signing both players in these positions. We already know as fans how far we are into Mark Gee, so it's clear to me that we're winning for a centre-half and we haven't even considered bringing an option on that right-hand side, which is just ludicrous. I do not understand it at all. Can someone in the comment section please tell me why we decided not to buy a winger? Because as far as I can tell, we haven't got anyone on the right-hand side that actually get goal contributions. And you look at this season so far, you look at how we played against Southampton before the red card, you tell me how we played against Bournemouth a couple of days ago. We look poor in the attack. We've got no creativity. I think out wide, Gordon Murphy just hasn't worked so far. I think the pair of them are lacking real goal contributions. I think Harvey Barnes has been the best out of the three of them, and he's came off the bench. So when you look at Newcastle's transfer window, do I think it's been a disappointing window? Yes. Yes, I do. Do I think it's the worst window we've ever had? Absolutely not. I've heard some channels and some fans come out and say it's the worst window I've ever seen. Absolutely no chances at the worst window. Is it the worst since the takeover? For me, yeah, I think it is. Even more so than the actual window where we didn't buy anyone. In this case, I don't get this window. We've just lost the man there, we just lost the murdered, so we had a bit of a restructuring going on. Newcastle, of course, missed out on European football. So now this was the real season where we have a good window, a reset time, and then we can go again and look to properly go this year and to try and win some silver, to potentially try and get back into Champions League football. How negative has this transfer window been? Every single signing we have made, nobody is starting for us. Every single sign has been designed to be brought in as a squad rotation player. I mean, what team does that? Who goes out there in the transfer market and does not attempt to bring a first team player in? Lewis Hall was signed last summer because of the obligation to buy in his contract. Usula, bench player. Kelly, rotation. 2 goalkeepers were Vakmadimos, Eddie Howe did not even want. We bought him because of the PSR. And we haven't signed a single first team player, where Mark Gee is the only player we have looked at this entire market, where if we sign Mark Gee, he will actually start for Newcastle United. We have not looked at bringing first team players and all players who will actively improve our start 11. And for me, I think that is negative. I think that's poor, and I don't understand why Newcastle have done that. And that's not me coming out in this video and trying to, I guess the word is, to dramatise a window and try and make it sound worse than what it actually is. But you can't honestly watch this video and tell me that Newcastle's had a good transfer window. No, we haven't. We've had maybe an okay transfer window at best. I don't think that's good. I don't think that's good at all. You got to remember, Newcastle sell Minto so Anderson at £70 million. I know Tonali's come back tomorrow against Forest, which is a massive boost. But we've had a real opportunity this window to go out there and have a positive start this season, have a real team going forward. and we'll let ourselves in a bad position, because let's say Newcastle don't get European football again. I think we'll actually sack Eddie Howe if we don't get European football again. And is this window Eddie Howe's fault? No, it's absolutely not Eddie Howe's fault. And then players, let's say we don't finish in Europe. Bruno is probably not going to stick around 2 seasons without Europe. Isak might be in the same situation. Gordon, I think, will definitely not stick around if we don't get European football again. These are our key hitters. And for Newcastle, yes, it probably would be positive selling one of them because of the fact we get so much money to go back into the football club. But how do we know now that money come back in is actually going to go out and be spent in good players? Because we've had the opportunity in this window. We've brung Paul Mitchell in. And I'm not confident this Paul Mitchell guy. We finish his window now without saying a winger. How could you tell me Paul Mitchell's a good appointment? We haven't bought in a winger. I don't understand that. We've been needing to bring a player in that position for 2 to 3 years. We haven't done it. I don't understand how a full scouting team and Newcastle United and our ownership, the PF, how everyone's collectively went, well, we're going to try and get Mark Gee, and that's it. Maybe we'll get James Trafford because of the fact it's a loan obligation to buy next summer. But how you can walk into this week and just say to yourself, we're not going to sign a centre-half and a winger, baffles me. How we neglected that out-wide option? Because I don't know what they've watched in the first 2 games of this season, but I've watched a poor attacking Newcastle side, a team that's clearly off it, a team that is needing a spark, needing a bit of creativity going. And we've got to now rely on Sandro Tonali to basically come in and do that, who statistically is not a player you would expect to do that. However, I think will be an impact when he plays against Forest tomorrow. In terms of what we do now as a club, I think some of the players we keep or sell as well can potentially be an impact. I think we have to keep Kieran Trippier. I think if he goes this week, I think again, not something I agree with. I might have said something different last week, but especially the way he played against Bournemouth, you've got to back him now, and I think he has done what he's deserved to do, and I think he's got livamento out of that team. But in terms of this window, it's been poor. I don't know who to blame. Paul Mitchell is probably the first name that comes up because of the fact that he is the big changing director that's came in this season. Newcastle's had such a poor window. So even though I don't 100% know, I have got my finger pointed towards him. You can't tell me this has been a good window. I think our targets have been lacklustre for the most part. The only good one we've had, Mark Gee, we've spent several weeks trying to get the guy in. We still haven't got the guy in. We're still not confirmed to get the guy in. So even though personally I believe over the next couple of days we will sign him, it's not enough. I said all window long we need to bring a winger in. We haven't done it at all. I know options might be a bit scarce in places, but I don't think there's been a real intent from Newcastle to buy a winger. I mean, how many players have we actually put a bid in for this window that can play out wide? No one. We haven't put anyone in. And meanwhile, I'm seeing reports that Paul Mitchell went on a scouting trip to watch James Trafford. Yeah, are you taking the mick? He's went on a scouting trip to watch James Trafford at the Stadium Light. Bearing in mind, we've got Murphy starting out wide. How does that make any sense? I'm sorry, but that actually baffled me. I seen a report from Craig Hope yesterday that we're actually sending our scout to the Stadium Light to watch a 21-year-old goalkeeper play against Sunderland. Meanwhile, we've got Murphy and Almiron out wide for a team that's expected to get Champions League football. We aren't getting Champions League football again with those two. I know in the past we did, but that was down to Miggy having a 6-week spot where he scored a stupid amount of goals. Unless he decides to do that again, we aren't getting Champions League football with players like those two stars. With all due respect, because I do honestly like them as players. They give 100%. But talent-wise, I don't think they're good enough to get Champions League football. I don't think they are, and that's my truthful response on it. So how a guy like Paul Mitchell is spotted scouting the players at the Stadium of Light in the Championship, but we've got a real problem out wide. I just don't understand that one. Can someone come and explain to me how that makes any sense? Because I just don't get that. And that's not me trying to single someone out. But when you get rid of a man, they get rid of murder. Of course, Dan Ashford goes to Manchester United. Has Paul Mitchell came in and done a better job than Dan Ashford? No, I don't think he has. And I think that's a problem. I think, especially when you're coming in, your first impressions are always key. You've got to have a good start. And I don't think Eddie Howe's been backed. I do not think for a second that our manager has been backed. I don't think the PAF's backed Eddie Howe. Can you honestly tell me that the PAF has faith in Eddie Howe and Paul Mitchell is properly backed our manager? I don't think we have at all. I think it's been a horrendous window. And I think the fact that he's came out today in a press conference and just told the journalist that is, well, we are probably not going to sign a centre-half and a winger, I think is terrible. I do not think that's good at all. And I'm sorry if you guys think I'm maybe going over the top here. I don't think it's a massive disaster for Newcastle. I still think statistically with our squad, we should be getting some form of European football. But we have lost a massive opportunity here. This was a big window for us. This was a big reset for us. And we have not done anything to inspire fans this season. As a player playing for Newcastle, you look at that window and you tell me that Newcastle is trying to get Champions League football. No chance are we trying to get Champions League football a window like that. And again, I surely don't think the PAF is when, well, you know what, we're not going to back Newcastle this season. Because I definitely think the PAF has. I think there's been someone internally behind the scenes with either a manager or scouting or Paul Mitchell, whoever it may be, where we just haven't went for the right options. We just haven't looked at the right players. I mean, we're going on scouting trips with James Trafford the last week of the window. Is someone taking the mick here? James Trafford, we've got 6 goalkeepers. Why are we needing James Trafford? Do I think James Trafford would be a decent signing? Yeah, I honestly think we would be, but he's definitely not a player we need at the minute. Has someone looked out wide? Has someone looked at the options we have? We haven't signed Mark Gay yet, so that's not even confirmed, but that's the only positive sign Newcastle's winning for, the only intent of statement Newcastle's winning for. And if we sign Mark Gay, then I'll come back next week with the review on the window and I'll be more positive. But it's still not good enough. We still haven't signed a winger, and that's the reality. I think you guys can agree with me and think that this has been a negative and poor window. It has. It's been underwhelming and lacklustre. And I don't think it's good enough for the PAF. I don't think it's good enough that we have money to spend here and we haven't decided to spend it on a winger. We've decided instead that we would rather spend £70 million on a centre-half and a winger. And that's the problem. It's not like Newcastle's got nothing left. We could actually go, know what, Mark, we're not going to sign you. We'll pay £70 million on a winger. And I think that's a better option for Newcastle. Our defence, even with Botman and Lascelles injured, I don't think our defence is terrible. Kraft does a decent job. Byrne, I think, is good at centre-half. So I don't think it's an immediate case that we need Gay in. Do we need someone in long term? Absolutely, yes, we do. But £70 million, the winger for £70 million, there'll be some options there. In Benbow from Brentford, you can surely get for £70 million now. And I know Brentford probably won't sell after selling Tony, but there are options out there where you can just splash £70 million on and get them in. And I'll be happy with that. The fact that we prioritise Mark Gay over a winger for me, it makes absolutely no sense. And I'm sorry, guys, but I don't understand that one at all. Could someone please tell me why that was a good idea? Because I think that's madness. But yeah, we'll see how this week goes in the window. I believe Eddie Howe in his conference today, I generally don't think we'll sign a winger. And I don't agree with that. Absolutely do not agree with that one. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section, guys. Do you agree with me? Because I'm losing the will here. Do you guys agree with what I've said in this video? But take care and we'll see you for the game.